Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Sierra Nevada. It's been a minute since we had a Sierra Nevada. This is their Dank Little Thing IPA. I don't remember the last Sierra Nevada beer I reviewed. I actually don't. What's the last one I had? Actually, the last beer I might have reviewed, no, I don't remember actually. Oh, I did their mixed case. That was probably the last ones I reviewed, but I was looking for something. I wanted a hazy, but I just, nothing was kind of tickling on my fancy at the place I was at. And I passed by this. And I the hazy little thing, I really do enjoy that beer. But it's been a while since I've had it, and I saw the Dank Little Thing, and I was like, okay, we're doing this. Got a little bit of time on it. It's from October. We're in February. So take that for what it's worth, but we're going to dive into it. Dank Little Thing IPA, Hazy IPA, 7.5% alcohol by volume. That's all they give you. Family owned and operated and argued over. Chico, California, and Mills River, North Carolina. Did they tell you where it comes from in the thing down there? I mean, I would assume this one came from North Carolina, North Crackalaca. Ale with natural flavors. Okay. Not sure if that means anything nefarious. So yeah, give it a pour. Flavor-wise, it is exactly the Little Thing series. Just slightly, obviously a little bit of different verbiage with Dank being on there, but it's the exact same design with a little bit of color variation to stand out from the crowd. So, not hating it, but that looks hazy. Does it look dank? I don't think Dank has a look, unless it's wheat. And it has this super creamy, pillowy head. It's like a bit over an index finger, and a bit of particulate floating around in there. I'm not sure if y'all see that. Floaties don't bother me. Like I said, this does have a little bit of time on it, but it's got this rich haze to it. What you'd come to expect from a dank, West Coast leaning kind of hazy, which is what I assume this is going to be like. So let's dive into the nose. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it smells all the part of an East Coast hazy. It is, stone fruit, citrus, orange Julius meats, kind of like a little peach sorbet kind of thing, kind of mixed together. Nothing too vibrant, nothing too overly sweet, but that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from it. Maybe a little bit of tropical fruit just to fill the whole trifecta out. But, usually a dank. If I'm dank, there's dank, which is weed. That's how I take dank. Then there's dank that is good, which means that shit's dank. And then there's ranky dank. That, to me, is like piney, resinous, scalliony garlic. That's kind of, that kind of thing. I mean, no, the pininess is just regular dank, but there's some interplay, there's some Venn diagram connection there. I don't really get any of those off of this. It really is more of just a sweet fruitiness on the nose. Nothing, no kind of precursor of this weedy kind of danky rankiness to it. It smells like a nice little hazy. Let's dive in. Cheers, all. Ooh, okay. I'm really curious about this natural flavors thing on the side of the can now, because there's something cool going on here, and I don't know if it's hop derived or it's some kind of dosed addition. I don't think so, being Sierra Nevada. But first off, mouthfeel. Fantastic. Nice, soft, fluffy, creamy. All you'd really want from a New England style hazy. And you almost get hit immediately with both sides of the spectrum when it comes to the hops. And this fruity portion of the show, which is definitely like an orange Julius thing for me, because the first sip was big, the second one not so much. There was almost like a little bit of creamsicliness to it. Just a touch of almost like heavy dose of oats or a touch of lactose, that kind of thing going on. And the other side of thing, there is a decent piney, danky thing going on here. It's not huge, but it's definitely something that is not what you typically expect from Hazy Little Thing. Hazy Little Thing's a little bit more kind of like neutral East Coast. Hazy, let's do that kind of thing. This is a little bit more Sierra Nevada's kind of DNA kind of thrown in there with that bit of piney bitterness, kind of little old school sea hops, Cascade, Chinook, that kind of thing probably thrown in there. But it is that fruit portion of the show. And the reason why I said added flavors, natural flavors, it has this touch. A touch of that Ballast Point grapefruit powdery Flintstone vitamin kind of thing going on. That fruit pop that I got on the initial sip, not really getting it on the subsequent sips. It almost feels like there's a decent hop dosage to it that's bringing a bitterness to it. And it's bringing a fruit portion of the show that they just wanted to prop up just a hair, a la carbonic acid with bitterness. Almost like it feels like there's something in here just juicing up, that's MSGing up the fruit portion of the show that you're getting from the hops here. Is that actually what's going on? We'll never know. They won't. Unless they're outright calling it out on their website and saying these are the ingredients, they're not going to say it. I can say it, but they're just not going to say it. And if we ask them, they're going to say no. It's kind of how this process works. Does it make for a bad beer, though? No. Not by any stretch of imagination. Because, again, harkening back to the carbonic thing, if used in small doses, it elevates the bitterness. It kind of can prop up that bitterness and make it go to a place that's really cool. Very much like MSG. MSG gets a really bad rap in food, and it's really the side effects are very minimal for 99% of the people, and it's usually kind of just headaches and general bleh. But it's an overdosage of MSG is really where you just feel like crap. It's like over-flavored. Like it's almost like truffle oil in a sense, to where it's just too much of one thing. And that's what a lot of people do with carbonic acid. And that's honestly what a lot of people like Ballast Point did and some other breweries did with that kind of additive. The Flintstone vitamin additive is what I call it. And to add that fruit flavorness. Think like, like a lot of the Fat Tire, gummy, that kind of thing going on. A lot of people do it down, use it nowadays. But it has just a slight dosage of that, what I perceive as that. But it's not so heavy-handed that it kind of makes the beer taste like, fruit force or some kind of crazy concoction that happens to be inside of a beer. It really is a hazy with just those subtle kind of notes to it that come off a little bit synthetic for me, but I ain't hating on it, let's put it that way. Honestly, we're talking about October 18th. So we'll give them a half month just for funsies. So we'll start in November, December, January, or the beginning of February. So let's say month and a half, okay, 3.5 months. So 3.5 months, beautiful mouthfeel. That bitterness, that dankiness is represented here. I'm not going to sit here and say this is a super dank beer, but they said dank, I'm getting it. We're checking the boxes off. And just that way that fruit portion of the show comes off in the nose and falls through in the taste, and then, it does have that little extra Spinal Tap to 11 thing going on that could or could not be hops. I don't think it takes away from the beer. And honestly, 7.5%, it drinks its ABV and its weight, it's in its weight class. Just comes off with a really fun beer. Really tasty beer. God, I got a little sixer of it. Let's put it that way. Let's talk about it. This is one of the better IPAs that I've had as of late. It's not Mount Rushmore status. It's not, it's fine. It's in the conversation. It's not towards the top, but at its price point and availability and how well it's held up over time, I'm not going to get mad at it. Value and availability, like I said, I think I paid $10 for a sixer of this, and leave you with, if you like, what will you like this beer? If you like East Coast haze and want a little bit of West Coast dollops, and you like your little fruitiness to be a little Julius'd up, I'm like Orange Julius, not Treehouse Julius, then you'll dig this. Sierra Nevada. Have you been to their breweries? East or West? I heard the East Coast one is just bonkers, but I would love to go to both. Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? Talk about it down there. What's your favorite Sierra Nevada beer of all time? All that fun stuff down in the comments below. Hopefully you all enjoyed the review. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of danky goodness. Hope we'll see you next time. Cheers, y'all.